And with that, we begin our round 2. You can let them know they're on the same time. So this should be interesting. It really is. I've played this match against the gentleman that I'm actually staying with this weekend, Mike Nolan. I played this matchup against him, and it definitely feels pretty hard for Machines. But again, if she can success, or if Clayton can get out that Lancelot and have enough counters, then it puts IU in a pretty weird spot. But yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and dive right in. Looks like Loki seems to be going on the draw for round 1. So let's see if our bunny will work. Put in the work. I'm very excited for Machines this next set as well, Mario. I think there's going to be a lot of fun here. For those of you who are just joining us, if you like what we're doing here today and want to support us, go ahead and try to click that join button. It's right down below. It's minimum $2 a month, and it gets you access to all kinds of cool things like the badges, your name in the credits, custom emoji to use. We are actively trying to get 10 members by the end of this stream today, so I would really appreciate if that happens. So if you guys want to join up, I really appreciate it. Goes directly to support the channel and actually helps us access our ad revenue faster as well. First turn, Magic Stone of Time. Not really what IU wants to be seeing up the top. We really want to try to see, obviously, the Possession Stone, so we have access to all 5 colors. So Jessica, unfortunately, just having to do a first turn pass. First turn, basic water. From out comes Guinevere, the Mobility Queen. And then just a pass. There's the Possession Stone for Jessica, so immediately back in this game with access to 5 colors. See what she has to work with here. No additions. There's it looks like that potentially is a special power medicine that might get played this turn, I think. Looks like we're just seeing a pass, though. So nothing turn 1 or 2 from IU. Potentially just a handful of souls. Maybe just thinking Judgment next turn and to just kind of pull off lethal the following turn. Maybe saving some will open to try to disrupt Clayton on his turn using some quick cast stuff and then perform Judgment. We see there are 0 Keyricks at this event, Logan. There are 0 Keyricks at a USGP. We're seeing the attempt to immediately banish the, oh, okay. So we're seeing a Donut Jun come down, attempting to put all of its counters on Gwyn. In response to that, we're going to go ahead and use Dragon's Lord's Breath and bounce the Gwyn back to hand. So really, just completely kind of walking into that a little bit. And we are going to get to draw a card. So, oh, are we maybe attempting to banish the... Hold on 1 second. I'm going to get it 1 second. So I was right here. We're seeing a look of corruption. So she bounced, and then the Guinevere got recast is what happened. So seeing a glint of insight come down here. We do see the Saturnus. A couple of Merlins that can't get grabbed. The donut drone and the Skyfall. I imagine the play is to probably grab the donut drone here to just steal as many of the counters as possible. Yeah, that seems about right. The Skyfall doesn't really matter. It's not going to bounce a J ruler. Not a great hand for the Loki Machines player. Finally seeing the dramaturgy here. Looks like we did draw into a Lancelot there. Not sure what it's going to do, unfortunately, with just Guinevere on board. We do see a mystery box, so we could, with how things have been going for the IU deck, we could see enough will to get that mystery box out, but it is going to take quite a bit. Saturnus isn't going to do much right now. So we're just going to go ahead and swing in for 2. I think the right call is just to take that damage. And we're just going to pass the turn here. Wait, hold on. Let's see. I feel like the right call here is just a Judgment IU. The Loki Machines isn't really putting a ton of oppression up. You know what the hand is for the most part. Really just probably going to set up for an OTK next turn. Loki doesn't seem to have any flyers in hand. And so really we're probably just going to see the damage go through. Unfortunately what's in the hand, I don't really see a way for Loki to stop this IU from just cracking in for 40 damage next turn. Misty Dragon Spirit coming in. She still has access to the possession zone here, so we can go get Resuscitating Will with the Goddard if we need to next turn. Don't necessarily based on how many souls we have in hand. Offering the cut off after the search. And then at end of turn, discarding the Black Leaf and the Miscalculation. The Black Leaf discard seems a little interesting because there's potentially so many 1-drops coming around, but I can see it being the discard with her knowing what's in hand thanks to the Thought Control. Yeah, with Samurai in hand and a Goddard for Resuscitating Will. This is game 1. Yeah. What? Merlin coming down here. The card that we have not seen in quite some time. I believe he'll be able to grab a 2-drop. Yeah, X+2. Yeah, so we're getting a 2-drop. So we're getting the addition Sky Round here. Unfortunately, this is not anything that's going to stop IU from being able to swing in, because there's no flyer. We'd have to have a Vivian right now. Energize into Vivian. And then at least at that point in time, you can tap IU down for a turn. But even then, it feels a little like it's pretty much game. If he passes the turn here, which he does, unfortunately. So this IU is actually just going to crack in. and deal the full damage here. She's got probably access to at least 2 souls in hand. We know she has at least access to 1. Goddard for Resuscitating Will, have flying, and then we're just done from there. So Misty Dragon Spirit to discard to IU, make her a 1500 flyer. And then if we have another soul here, yeah, it seems like Clayton hasn't necessarily played against IU before, so that's why this is happening. So Vivian can't target rulers. Thanks, Baba. So discarding it. And then oh, just the 1 soul. So we're just swinging for 15. Interesting. I know you know your machines. My apologies. So no second soul here. Oh, no, there it is. Okay, cool. So we were waiting to see about Declaration of No Block. So now we're at 20. I'm going to be swinging in for 20 damage. And then we can Goddard for Resuscitate. Whoa, okay. Now we're up to 2,500. How many souls do we have? Is she even needing it? There's 3,000. 35. Says I don't need no Resuscitating Will. 35. And wow, actually just has the full spread in hand to do 4,000 one shot with no Resuscitating Will. So yeah, that's 4,000 damage, and we move on to game 2. Wow, just like that. Says I don't need a white card. And yeah, we'll move on. That is probably the first time in a long time that I've seen an IU player just have that many souls in hand. It's mostly always been drop 2 and then Goddard for Resuscitating Will. Although the safest play is to do exactly what just happened. Is deal 4 grand with just discard from hand, and then you have Goddard to be able to answer anything that they do in response. But yeah, just absolutely just cracking in for 4 grand damage. So with that, we'll move into game 2. Not entirely sure what the sideboard is here for the Loki deck, but it is ultimately just going to be about getting to a pumped up 10 counter access Lancelot as fast as possible, because Lancelot's ability to remove abilities is super relevant when IU is going to swing. So what happens is, like, as they go to swing, you let them discard all their stuff, and then you use Lancelot's effect, and it removes all of the plus bonuses for the turn, and stops her from being flying. She doesn't have imperishable anymore, and then you can just block. And then at that point in time, you know, if you kill IU, she doesn't have imperishable. I mean, she pretty much, that's the end of the game there. So it really is going to come down to whether or not we see a bit of a faster start for Clayton to be able to keep up with the potential explosion that is an IU deck. Two games so far and only 1 rune deck. There have been last match had Brunhild, so there's been 2 rune decks, but Loki machines didn't use the rune deck at all this past game. So Machina as a ruler for more machine support. That would be pretty sweet. We'll have to see if going into the past of Autorockdia will change what rulers we have in regards to how they will support or what the characters will be. Using Arthur, really? Yeah, especially with the new set coming out, I think it's going to be really good to play Arthur. Draw the extra card at the beginning of the game. Clayton choosing to go on the draw. Not entirely sure why. Oh, no, choosing to go on the play. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. First turn Stone, Water Magic Stone, Vivian, there we go. Vivian finally getting to come down. Now we're going to start to see a more aggressive start from Clayton, which is what he wants to see in this matchup. Possession Stone, nope. Speaking Stone, or sorry, Time Stone. Not entirely bad when you have access to Energize, so you still have Dragon's Lord's Breath plus Bounce. We're just going to use Dragon's Lord's Breath right now. We're not going to awaken it or anything. We're just going to put that IU back, or that Vivian back in your hand and say, okay, let's reset your clock. Let's reset your aggression, your gaining of counters, and we'll just go from there. Potential turn here would be Vivian Guinevere would be a really good play, because again, that would put 3 counters on board. Yep, Vivian. Following it up with a Guinevere would be the best play possible in this situation, I think. Donut Drone. So Donut Drone works too. Gets 1, can banish the Donut Drone to go up to 5 counters. Although you don't want to leave yourself with just 1 creature on board really at this point in time. Sure, you can't banish it during your opponent's turn, but having already burned the Dragon's Lord's Breath, you might feel a little bit safer. Because again, IU only gets to play 1 copy of every card in her deck. We're just going to see a Sword Strike. That'll do it too. So Sword Strike is going to be a guaranteed kill here. So she reveals the top 5 cards of her deck if they're all different. As long as there are, let's see, if the name of all these cards, if none of them share a name, destroy a Resonator. So none of them are going to share a name because it's IU, so it's just a 1-drop kill spell. That Vivian is just not going to get to help Clayton at all to build up those counters. So next turn, we don't have a Possession Stone, so we really are just waiting for Possession Stone to come down from somewhere. A Gawain coming down here. You can banish the Donut Drone and hit with the Gawain for quite a bit of damage. We can also do maintenance on the Gawain, hit with both. If you really wanted to get greedy, you could do maintenance and then banish the Donut, swing with the Donut Drone and then hit. But instead, we're not going to do any of that. We're just going to pass, it looks like. Calling Stone here. Still no Possession Stone for the IU deck, which is not great, although we saw last game she really doesn't necessarily need it based on how many souls she's keeping in hand. See a special power medicine come down. Oh no, sorry, that's a magic wind chime. That's the promo version of magical wind chime. which helps her out a little bit based on what's potentially in her hand. Definitely could see a sec. If we get a possession stone next turn, Ayu can just explode. She does have access to the wind chime with, based on what's happening, you know, based on what's in her hand, could be a decent answer to whatever Clayton's going to try to do here. Clayton just needing to swing in. We do see that Lancelot coming in. So that's good. If it can stay protected, that Lancelot is kind of exactly what we needed right now. We're going to get 3 counters on it. We're going to get maintenance. We have, so we're going to have 2 stones. Oh, we're seeing an Erendite to cancel the Lancelot automatic ability to give the counters. So Halloween Erendite here, stopping it. Trying to find the Erendite card art here. So Nitrogen Blade to stop. We're going to go ahead and see, just go ahead and hit for 12 with the Gawain. Yep, down to 28. Another Donut Drone coming into play here. So this does give us, with this Donut Drone here, if we had immediately banished it, which we didn't, plus maintenance would give us 10 counters. Look of Corruption coming into play here, saying, let's see what's in that hand of yours. Potentially just to see if there's anything safety-wise that can kill the Ayu. It definitely feels to me, ooh, or Return to God, like that's the obvious grab. It definitely seems to me like Jessica is trying to prefer to just keep a ton of souls in hand and just do 40 in one shot. The problem here is whether or not Clayton recognizes his Ayu, his Lancelot effect to be able to turn off the Ayu. Seeing a Judgment is going to go get a Samurai Spirit. Just have lethal. I mean, the hand of the Loki player right now isn't going to do anything. Looks like he just top decks a Return of God, though. So that's pretty good. Oh, no, it's a Merlin. That's Merlin. Not going to be super great. The Wind Chime does give her access to Resuscitating Will because it is a chant. So at this point in time, she doesn't necessarily need to have 8 souls. Or sorry, she doesn't, yeah, 6 souls. But still, it's going to come down to what Clayton does to generate counters and how he burns them, how he spends them. This is actually game 2 already. Gary, we're in game 2. Ayu won game 1. Yep, there's that top deck Return of God. So we're getting a look at the top 7, and we get to go grab, it looks like 5. So a 5-drop or less. A Lancelot would be an excellent card to grab here off of this Return of God. If we have one, it'd give a ton of counters. There is a Lancelot in there. That seems like the easy grab. Yeah, the second Lancelot here is pretty crucial. Yep, there it is. So second Lancelot coming down off the return. Really good value off of it. You paid 2, you got a 3 drop. We're going to get a counter on everybody here, which suddenly makes, yeah, the Gawain can actually, let's see, with, let's see, if we burn, let's go up to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we can actually burn the board with the donut drone. We can do the board burn and still keep all of the counters on Gawain. So if Gawain swings in here and he has maintenance in the sideboard, and like Ayu goes to like pump block, it actually will kill the Ayu if Clayton recognizes that mechanic. So, oh, yep, so we're going to see it. We're going to see Ayu trying to block the Gawain. Not choosing to pump, just saying, okay, we're going to get... So then we're going to banish to put the extra counters onto Lancelot. Why would you remove the counters from Gawain? So we need maintenance here. So we see maintenance as a quick cast. Add the extra counters to... Don't add them to Gawain, you add them to the Lancelots. We are now at 10, just with the Lancelots. Oh, putting an extra couple counters on the Gawain. I can see the idea of using the Gawain here. You also want to wait until she burns a couple souls, but instead just choosing to go ahead and do it. We're going to use Lancelot's effect to nuke the board, and it will remove all of Ayu's effects for the rest of the turn. So then Ayu will lose all those effects if this is going to resolve, and then we'll have no imperishable, so we'll die, and so we're going to go on to game 3 most likely. I'm trying to see if there's anything... Yeah, the Eternal God was definitely key here. I'm trying to think through Ayu lists. Lightning Shield? Or, looks like we do have a way to... Oh, actually... Oh no, we've already used Sword Strike. So the Sword Strike here would have actually been really good. If she has something in deck to be able to bounce the Gawain, then actually this is a hard punish. A Shayla's Return, actually. If she's playing Shayla's Return, and we got art for Shayla's Return here, this is actually going to go back to being Jessica's game, because she can just Goddard, Shayla's Return, bounce the Gawain back to hand, and then at that point in time, sure, you burned all your counters, but then Ayu is safe. Like, Ayu doesn't take any damage here. So we would have to have a Shayla's Return here, and then at that point in time, it stops it. So getting a judge call here, we're going to put a pause on the timer. Pause it real quick. Looking into exactly how Lancelot reads, how it works. And then we're back. Just clarifying for Lancelot. Okay, sounds good. That's what I thought. So, yeah, the play here is just a Goddard for Shayla's Return if it's in the deck. It should be. It's a pretty staple card because it's a blue bounce spell for something 4 or less. But no, we're not. We're not going to Goddard. So that Ayu is actually dead. And at that point in time, we probably concede. But, I mean, she does have Misty Dragon Spirit potentially. You have the volume at 100%. It's still kind of hard to hear me. I can pump it up a little bit. How's that? I just don't want it to be too gainy. I can try to pump it up just a little bit. So they currently have, so Apex Dragoon, they still have a CEO with iSpy. His name is Kim. They still have a new CEO. And this is actually the last GP in the United States for this season. Although, if you're interested, in October of this year, right outside Detroit, we're doing a really, really big tournament that I think people are really going to want to come to. Cash prizing and all. It's going to be pretty awesome. In comes a Freya? Not really going to be helping right now outside of filtering. That's definitely an interesting card to add to this deck. Just to maybe draw in, just make it so that, like, oh, I'm playing one, single copy, so it gives me a chance to draw 2 per turn and get what I need. But right now, she doesn't have another machine, so it's just 200 defense. Still no possession stone here. Sleepy Cat Spirit coming in. It's our barrier, our 4/6 barrier spirit. Apex, I think plane tickets to Detroit will be pretty easy for you to get. Bob, are you saying say what now to my comment about a big tournament in October in Detroit? Because you need to come. Just check it out. There's some information down here. There's the link. Yep, so we're going to Skyfall to put the Freya back in hand and end of turn. The more people who pre-register for our events, the better, because we're pretty much taking 100% of the entry fees and pouring them back into the prize pool, and we're doing cash. So like top 8's going to be getting cash. So the more you can do, the more we get pre-registers, the more we can offer in terms of pricing. So down comes a Freya here. Yeah, the new set will be legal during that tournament as well, for sure. We will be streaming it as well. So Merlin getting a 2-drop. I imagine we're probably going to go get the Camelot here, or sorry, Sky Rounds, because it's going to make all of these machines suddenly significantly bigger. And staring down a pretty massive board, Jessica doesn't really have a way to come back. So I'm going to go verify. Once I see what he grabs, I'm going to go verify. It's a missed trigger, so it's a misadvantageous trigger. So the way it works is because he missed it, I'm going to wait for all of this to resolve. I'm going to wait for it all to resolve because triggers happen in different orders, guys. So if they try to go to move something else, I'm going to put my little pause button here, and then I'll go get our judge and let them know exactly what's going on, because it is an advantageous trigger. So because he missed it, Jessica would be able to choose whether or not he gets to take it or not. The enter effect and the trigger from Viv happen at the same time. So we'll see what happens, and I might pause it. The event will have some Halloween-themed stuff at it, because we're doing it in October 12th, so you should definitely just come to our event anyway. So I have my button ready to pause them, just trying to see if they sequence it properly, whether or not I actually need to pause them or not. we move into combat. Oh, Jessica's pointing out. Okay, there we go. So Jessica pointed out that the counters needed to happen, so we get it. We go ahead and Jessica being a good sport here and reminding him of the triggers and getting those free counters. Lancelot swinging in for 7. She takes it down to 21. He's swinging in with a lot here, so I'm gonna wait until full life total is done. We're gonna see a Sand Awakening from Rune Deck to do 29 down to 19. What an interesting Rune Deck card. Yeah, there's a lot. We're also going to be working to try to get some potential hotel blocks set up as well. Swinging in for another 7 with this next Lancelot here. That goes through down to 12. Then Gawain for lethal. Blocking with the kitty here. So we should just be sitting at 12. And at that point, we pass the turn. So, an Ethereal Windstone from Jessica. Definitely not something that I've seen in IU before. Really, at this point, though, I'm not entirely sure if there's anything she can do to answer this board state. A lot of her expensive spirits aren't going to do much against here. She does have Willful Samurai, but that's only going to stop 1. Potentially is going to get bounced by those Skyfalls that we know exist. So we'll see. Yes, it is the Ruler School Grand Foul Festival. Is what we're hosting on October 12th. So we're really trying to break 60 players so that we can give away a grand in cash alongside all the other stuff like Uber Arthurs and all kinds of good stuff. Willful Samurai Spirit coming down here. And then just a pass turn there. Really looking, you see at the bottom there, we have trying to get that number of new Ruler School alumni. That's the membership thing. We're trying to get 10 during the course of this stream. If you feel like supporting us, we really appreciate it. See, there's 40 of you, 42 of you in the chat right now. It's just $2 a month minimum. We're trying to get $5 a month because it helps out and really goes to support the channel a long way. So if you like what we're doing, go ahead and consider joining as a member to get all kinds of cool perks and support what we do. And then Freya coming back in here just to form up as another blocker with the Vivian on board. With the Vivian on board and a Skyfall, I'm pretty sure this is just lethal. You can use the Vivian to tap down. Swing in the air with the Vivian first. Obviously, you want to maximize damage. And then tap down one of the 2. And then have the Skyfall for the second one. We don't have access. I mean, she's locked into what she's got in hand. So 2 will, 1 green, 1 colorless. She could have Lorite. She could have Fair Spell. She could have Miscalculation. There's a few options. 2-minute rounds, though, so there's nothing necessarily stopping her from winning in Game 3. Both these players playing a little slow, so whether or not they can finish a Game 3, even with IU in 20 minutes, is debatable, but we'll see. Ooh, potential mystery box play. That seems unnecessary at this point in time, knowing that your opponent's only got 12 life. Gonna use Lancelot's effect to pop the. Okay, we're using Lancelot's effect to pop the Willful Samurai Spirit, flashing in the Lorite in response to stop it. Erendite Blade. Oh, Keys' Call. So Keys' Call to be able to stop the Lorite trigger. So he's going to get to draw a card off of that. Still going to get to kill the Resonator off of it. And then at that point in time, she just scoops. So going into game 3, definitely, could you give me as much possible? Yeah, so Apex. Apex, check out the link that I'm putting in the description right now. That should get you access to the pre-registration information in terms of the address and everything else. The information is also on the slide. There's a slide about it in the in-between section that you can check there. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be, and that's just the pricing that we have currently. We are getting more, so there will be more pricing coming down the line. "17 minutes on the clock. Definitely enough time for Jessica to win game 3. Definitely enough time for Clayton to win, although festival. I'm seeing that we have some dropped. We're getting some dropped frames here. So apologies for that. I'm kind of watching. If we have to restart the stream, we will. Go ahead and just restart if you're seeing dropped frames, or if things glitch out. Let me know in the chat if things are gone. Ayu choosing to go on the draw, I think that's probably actually the right decision here. She gets the extra card, she gets the Energize, gets her to a potential turn 2 Ayu flip if she just wants to go as aggressive as possible. It's really just going to be about how many souls she draws. I mean, if she can see a turn 1 Possession Stone into a turn 2 Judgment with enough souls in hand, I mean, then that can be potentially a turn 3 lethal against this matchup, especially based on if she needs 2 souls and 2 souls, Possession Stone, and a Resuscitating Will to be able to do lethal here. And if she has access to any kind of bounce spell in game 1 or turn 1 to deal with anything that might set up a Lancelot play, she'll be in a much better shape. Looks like a turn 1 Viv. Turn 2 double Gwyn would be really good here. Call Stone would love to be. Oh, first turn Possession Stone. That's what Ayu definitely wants to see. Really setting up Jessica right off the bat here to be able to do just a very quick turn OTK on turn 1. Thought Control. Interesting decision here. Probably would have potentially just held up Will. But this deals a similar kind of thing. If there is a Lancelot in there, it looks like Skyfall, which doesn't matter. Double Guinevere Vivian. I think you probably take the Vivian. Taking the Skyfall? I am confused as to why we took Skyfall there. Definitely seems like you would prefer to take one of the Resonators here rather than give the machine player the turn to just play double Vivian or double Guinevere. Clayton could even play Vivian into Guinevere and just maximize the counters that way too, while also establishing a pretty oppressive board state. at least at this early game. So I think the proper play here is probably Vivian into Guinevere. Nope, we're just going to do Guinevere. So 2 counters on the Viv, gets a 3rd one, goes up to 3. Swinging in for 5. Says that's fine, I'll take it, go down to 35. Oh, not 500, 3,500. Second Guinevere coming down here, putting the counters on the other Guinevere. We'll have access to 9. Calling Stone, choosing not to do Judgment. Maybe a Black Tears in hand. Oh, Special Power Medicine, that's pretty good at this point in time. An Energize into Black Tears would be pretty good. I think in this situation. Oh, Glint of Insight. Okay. Taking the Vivian. Okay, yeah, there's Vivian. He still has to show what the other card is. It's a Gawain. So no Lance for Clayton here. But this is a lot of damage. 1 and only. Oh, man. That's pretty good here. So 1 and only is going to take both Guinevere's out. Actually, a really, really nice play here. Does burn her out, but it does take a lot. So it is going to kill. So what he could do is he could just banish one of the Guinevere's to the other one before it resolves. And then it wouldn't share a name. So that's a little, it at least takes 1 out. But yeah, it's since then the Guinevere's gone, so we lose it. Potentially, if Guinevere didn't have her sack effect, that play would have been really, really good. However, now she's just going to take a ton of damage here because we're going to go to a Gawain getting cast. Yeah, so Gawain's going to get cast here. A maintenance to follow it up. We're going to be hitting in for a ton of damage in a really big board state that it's going to be difficult for I to deal with. So Clayton just kind of needing to pull the trigger here rather than being so passive. Just recognizing the opening that IU is giving him and being aggressive as possible. Check it to Power Medicine to make sure it doesn't give swiftness. Just make it a 12-12. Quick maintenance here, so you're suddenly hitting with Vivian will be hitting for 8. Guinevere can then hit for 4, so that's 12, and then another 10, so 24. Sorry, 22 damage, taking Jessica down to 13. So 2 counters there, 2 extra counters on. I think you put them on the Guinevere, not the Vivian, but okay. So taking in for 10, taking in for 9, so 19, and then leaving the Vivian up because the Guinevere up because he does have, no, he's just going to go ahead and swing in. So 23 damage there total, going down to 1,200. Saying, look, I'm going to put you at 12 life and force you to do something about it. Mystery box in the rune deck, that's not going to get cast now. Potentially Return of God. A Return of God would be pretty good right now. Ethereal Wind Magic Stone, so not even calling Stone this turn. I think, unfortunately, that pretty much seals it. Pig? Oh, we could see a Judgment here with the Pig getting the extra stone. And she would get a stone off of the Power Medicine. Yeah, okay, cool. So we're going to see a flip here. Going to get a stone off the Power Medicine. I'm not entirely sure how that helps against this board state. Misty Dragon Spirit from hand. It'd have to be another Possession Stone. So if it was Possession Stone and she had High Speed in hand, although I don't know if High Speed can hit J Rulers. I might be incorrect about that. I don't think it can. Does hit a Possession Stone. And then just pass. And we're going to pass turn. Sword Strike would be good here. So the problem is any combination of 2 Resonators on this board is lethal, right? So she can only block 1, and he's got 2 others to swing in. So the IU player does have access to Goddard and 1 Will, so we can get Sword Strike to stop 1 of them. Belisarius wouldn't have been enough right now, yeah. An Arrival of the Hero wouldn't be terrible. An Arrival of the Hero in hand, plus Arrival of the Hero in hand, plus a Sword Strike would be saving grace here. So we're going to see Return of God from Rune Deck. So we're going to look at the top 7. We can get a 4-drop or less. So let's see what we hit here. A Lancelot would be great. Lancelot would absolutely seal the deal, I think, at this point. Clayton really thinking about what he wants to grab off this Return of God. Looks like a Gawain potentially, although that's not going to have any counters on it. Donut Drone. That seems like there weren't many other good options here. I mean, it's still lethal pretty much. Mordred wouldn't have been terrible. Yeah, and I just don't think he had a Lancelot there. And Saturnus? To put the Power Medicine back on the bottom of the deck. So not bad. That's a card I haven't seen in a very long time. Let me see if I actually have that card in my little database here. I do. Saturnus. Getting to put an entity back on the bottom of the deck. Gawain. We're going to see pitches for IU. But it doesn't matter. Like with the 1 block from IU, like we have to have a Sword Strike. I mean, we do have Goddard. We can go get Sword Strike. There is a miscalculation in hand. Okay, so she does have a way to stop the attack. It's going to be about whether or not he tries to... So, like, it's going to come down to, weirdly enough, it's going to come down to whether or not he kills the IU this turn. If he doesn't kill the IU this turn, and she has a way to kill the Vivian, she's pretty safe. Falcon Spirit to pump up again? I don't know why that's happening. I don't know what's happening. Hold on. I think she's thinking Pierce works on block. I don't know why she would have... Hold on. Pause.
It would be so easy if I could pierce on blocks. Dark Elf spot. Yes, I know. Every time there's a Dark Elf spot. Exactly. Every end of turn, both players lose a life, and he kept getting me to 6 and throwing a stem on. I'm like, yeah, I was like.
Yeah, okay, so they both players didn't recognize that Pierce only works when someone is blocking or someone is attacking that has Pierce, and so ultimately she bitched all those thinking she was going to pierce the damage back to him because she has Pierce, but then she doesn't do it, and she knows that the only card left in her hand at that point is Miscalc. It's not going to stop it, so she just conceded. So with that, we're going to go on a little bit of a break, and then we'll be back for round 3.